My father was an electrical engineer. As he said, he spent most of his career working for the Northern Electric Company, and most of that in Montreal. He's probably famous for leaving Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia. He went to Nova Scotia Institute of Technology, went to Acadia University, and this is all before World War II. And he was brought up in a very strict Baptist family. And his father had gone off to work out in British Columbia and eventually disappeared. So he was brought up by his mother and some very strict Baptist aunts. Going back to the earliest memories, I was very lucky because we were living in an upper duplex till I was about 3.5. Then we moved into a bungalow that my father built down the street, and I helped build, of course, and there's pictures to prove it. My father had a car, and he would pack us up and we'd go on a vacation. At the earliest vacations were to Maine, to Old Orchard Beach, and with my grandparents. So all being crammed in a car going for what ended up to be not a 5.5 or 6 hour drive, but about an 8.5 hour drive, because this would be in the 50s where the roads weren't as good as they are today. And of course, going to a Catholic school as well, being about 11 years old, 10, 11 years old, starting to be altar boy at the church, St. Ignatius of Loyola, got involved in that and went right up to 16, 17 years old. Those were the days where the ruler and the staff were used liberally, okay? It was, again, everything was very public. On all the holidays, for the Passion, we'd be out parading as school kids around because between the school and the church, there was a lot of activities. The First Communion was, of course, a massively social event as well. Two very different environments for high school. One was a typical Catholic Jesuit boys' high school. The other one was the typical big, everybody goes there high school, except in those days when I went there, it still was divided physically between the girls and the boys. And the nuns taught on the girls' side. And the nuns were guarding the fire doors with broom handles every day. A pretty good student. And in those days at the Jesuit high school, you took Latin, you took Greek, you took a lot of things. And the new math was just being introduced. And one of the teachers there was actually co-authored one of the first books on the new math stuff. At university, they also had something called COTC, Canadian Officers Training Corps. And as I said, I'd applied to the Army before. And I found out that I could actually join them at university because they had a building on campus. And that's what I did. So on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 1966, I joined the Canadian Armed Forces as the member of COTC, which I went on to stay in the Armed Forces for 29 years after that. Obviously, the friendships and the environment in the military is very important to me. It was something that introduced me to beyond our local environment, people from across Canada, things that I obviously hadn't seen before. So between the family upbringing and the military, I'd say that those environments are the two major things that shaped me in terms of the person I am, or the person I think I am. Well, starting to do building inspections. I did some consulting work as well, but generally more and more the demand was for me to do building inspections. And in those days, we were a subsidiary of American Society of Home Inspectors in Canada, which was a lip service Canadian association. And there was only about a dozen of us meeting once a month at the St. Hubert barbecue or whatever. And I actually wrote the constitution for the Quebec Society when we separated from the American one. But my friends today tend to be a wide, diverse group. The neighbors here, okay, we know and we socialize with. The community from the schools and the pool, we know and socialize with. As long as we can be physically mobile and mentally agile, life is good. So just live it, because you never know what's going to happen, particularly when you look around and see what's happening to people around you.